Okay, welcome back. It's Dash Navajo here. We are on our way down to Southend. Lovely clear day, slightly hazy. Currently to the north of Luton and tracking inbound to the Parkway VOR. Flight level 90. We've got a ground speed now with the wind behind us of 194 knots, so we're zipping along quite nicely. And we're going to need to make some plans now to get down and position for a arrival into Southend. So let's just tidy things up. We're heading on. And we are into 116 there. 11625, I believe, is Parkway VOR. Yep. Parkway VOR it is. So we're expecting a runway 23 approach at Southend. What we will do, as mentioned in the previous video, is we'll switch nav 2 and we'll have a listen to
Echo Golf Mike Charlie Airport Information Echo 2020 Zulu weather wind 220 at 10 visibility 10 sky condition few clouds at 4,800 temperature 16 dew point 11 QNH 1015 advice on initial contact you have information Echo Golf Mike Charlie Airport Information Echo 2020 Zulu weather wind 220.
Okay, so it's Echo. The wind is from the southeast as assumed, 220 at 10 knots, temperature is plus 16 degrees, and the QNH is 1015. So we can load in now the approach following the Spear 2 hotel arrival. So we're approaching ILS-23, it's a Vectors, and we'll load the approach. Don't want to activate it not now because we're not close enough to Southend at the moment. In the real world we would be on London Control now, probably on Essex radar 120.65 possibly, as we're kind of in that zone at flight level 90, and they would bring us down pretty much all the way to Southend radar, who we would transfer over to, and then tower, and then ground following that. So we don't have any VATSIM on at the moment, no London Control or nothing out of Southend at the moment. But we will make some blind radio calls again, just to keep the kind of the flying as kind of as real as possible. Although it might sound weird me kind of speak to myself, but hey, it's all good. It's all for the good of the learning experience. So currently into Parkway, expecting next Brain, and then Spear. What we'll do from Brain, we will radar vector ourselves around to intercept the ILS-23 and kind of try and around Brain towards the final approach fix for runway 24 or 23. Interesting. 24 apparently. However, my charts on my iPad show runway 23, so that's interesting. Should have checked that before I took off, but hey, it's all good. So obviously we've got to make a descent at some point. I'm going to have a look at the approach chart for 2-3 on my iPad. Transition altitude 6,000, aerodrome elevation is 55 feet, approach is 130.775, so we might as well just tune that just for fun. 775 expecting. Yes. The inbound course to the runway is 234. So effectively that should be ILS-23. What we will also do as well is we will turn the ADFs on and we'll just tune the Southend NDB, which is on 362.5. 362.5. Flight level 90, the platform altitude, the altitude that will be intercepting the glide slope on at Southend is 2,000 feet on the QNH of 1015. So we will start making a descent very shortly. We can descend pretty quickly in the Navajo, normally around kind of 2,000 feet per minute. But we might just descend a little bit earlier just to get us into, just to kind of make things easier for me, considering this is my third video flying the Navajo. Okay, heading is set. We're just coming over the top of Stansted at the moment in the cruise. Got 186 knots now, grain speed just drained off slightly. Throttles tend to like to flicker a little bit until I find them into a little. That's better. We will set up the Nav 2 for the ILS at Southend. The frequency being 11135, as already set in the standby Nav 1 after I selected the ILS-23 approach. We can set that on the left side now. There is no other VOR to track, so we might as well leave 11135 in, and let's see if we can get a fix on it. We won't, so because it's an ILS, of course. So what we will do, however, is set the standby instruments up to point down the approach course, which is 234. So that is 23. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4 is the inbound course on the ILS at Southend. We can also it's a funny instrument, this on the Coronado. Never works quite correctly. So we're heading 120 at the moment, and that'll give us a directional indication of kind of where the airport's pointing at present. So we'll look, and just coming over the top of Stansted now, I think we'll just start a gentle descent of 1,000 feet a minute. And I can just slowly push the nose down. Give me about 1,000 feet a minute. Keep the throttles in and just gain a little bit of speed on the way down, unless we need to bleed it off. So about 1,000 feet a minute. Let's just watch the speed. Don't want to overspeed at all. .202 knots ground speed, an increase in 170 indicated. So I'll just bring the manifold pressure back to 25 inches. We can leave the propeller RPM at 200. EGT is dropped as we expect it to, and passing flight level 80. So on the transition altitude 6,000, we'll be setting 1015 the QNH at Southend. And as I mentioned, I'll make a few blind calls to simulate Southend radar or approach, and the tower as well, which is 127725. And just whilst we're descending, we probably should have done this in the cruise, but we're all in balance at the moment and descending on nav. So after arrival 2-3 we will expect a left exits Charlie 1 at Southend, through Charlie 2, taxi Charlie, and we'll be parking, we're looking to be parking on the Lasham apron just outside the Lasham hangar, which is on the south side of the airfield. So land 2-3, left Charlie 1, Charlie 2, Lasham apron on the right side there. Now the one thing I need to do with the nav for Ho, and I always kind of never do this, but I need to work out what aircraft category the Navajo falls in. I think it's a Bravo, which will give us a decision height of 204 feet. There is no way of setting a decision height within the Navajo, so it's a case of making a mental note of 204. If it is a Bravo category aircraft, I will double check that for the next video. No need for the radar. It's a clear day, just a little bit hazy. And we're in the right turn now from Brain, and we've just passed 6,000, so we will set 1015, which is there. And this is going to sequence us Mailer Spear. So after Mailer, it's going to take us to Spear. However, what I'm going to do now is simulate putting on the heading. So we're going to go on the heading 150. We're going to select heading select on the altitude, on the autopilot. I'm going to activate the FMS final, vectors to final. So on that heading will just put us just inside the final approach fix. Passing 5,000, 1015 set, 1,000 feet. Let's just turn left 150. Forget that when I select heading select, it automatically just jumps back to kind of the current heading. Then you have to select it again. Don't know whether again that's a Piper thing or whether that's a Caronado-ism, if you will. And just for kind of situational awareness, I will go direct to the final. So it just gives me a nav point to final. For runway 23 we decided. Now we changed the CDI to reflect VOR localizer because this will be flown, this is not an RNAV approach, this will be flown as a standard ILS. And we can now select 11135 on the nav1, it selects on the nav2 as well. And we can now set our inbound ILS course, which we agreed was 234. About there. And we've got it set on this side. Now we are quite fast, so I'm going to just bring the engine back now, just bleed off a bit of speed and just give us just a slightly, maybe 1,500 feet a minute. We're closing in on final approach pitch, it's 4 miles, so we are above the platform altitude at the moment of 2,000 feet, so it's 3,400 for 2,000. And the speed's coming back. Descent checklists talk about mixtures, fuel selectors, power, oxygen off, and pilot and windshield heat, or sorry, I should say pitot and windshield heat as required. So the before landing checklists are seatbelts and no smoker sign not required. Emergency fuel pumps we'll set up now, we'll put them on now. The mixtures can go fully rich, prop sync is off, and we can check the prop controls to 400. And normally this is done just, I think, just before, just on the kind of final approach, but we'll just set it now just to kind of help us out. And we're about to hit the platform altitude of 2,000 feet, so we can bring the nose up, ready for an out capture. 2,000 feet out capture, and I'm going to turn right, heading 210, and I'm going to select the localizer, nav arm, and there we go. We're just coming onto the glide now, just watching the speed at 2,000 feet. Just let that drop away. That's good. And the glide slope's coming in, so we can now select approach, and you'll see approach coupled with the glide slope. We set our heading. We're about 6 miles out, so put the gear down. And glide slope is taking us now below the platform altitude, 2,000 feet. And just for reference, the go around altitude is 2,000 feet, so we can again just keep that in mind. There's the runway and there's the pappies. Before landing checklist, we got to prop controls at 2400, gear down, and that's below 156 knots, which we are. Gear lights 3 green, gear mirror checked, so that's not simulated. Brake pressure checked. Autopilot we'll just leave on for a mile or so. We can bring flaps 1 now, and the landing lights can go on. Just watching the speed. Okay, we've got runway heading set on the heading bug. We're balanced on the approach. Speeds about 114 knots at present. I haven't done what I said I was going to do, which was to simulate radio calls. But hey, we'll do that another day. So currently around about 650 feet per minute on the glide slope. Nicely balanced. The standby instrument is showing fully balanced as well on the glide, on the localizer. And I will take out the autopilot, flight director goes away. And clear to land runway 23 Delta Charlie Hotel. There you go, they've one call to the tower. Talk to myself. Okay, we're on the glide. Speed's good. My understanding of landing the Navajo is that the final stage flaps come out quite late on in the approach. Again, I would welcome any kind of real well Navajo pilot to kind of give me an idea on that, but it seems to kind of work in the Coronado. It's very stable on approach like this. So we're just above the glide, which is not a bad place to be in a prop aircraft. Bring the second stage flaps out. And final stage. Just keeps us nicely on the glide. Just bring the manifold power back. Just above the glide. Keeping it on the centre line with the rudder. Just bringing the power all the way back. Just a nice positive touchdown. There we go. Just put the nose, just a little bit of forward pressure just to get some positive nose steering. And we'll brake because our exit is just here on the left. It's hard to keep this plane in balance on the brakes, but that's not so bad. Okay, off the brakes. And as briefed, there's our left turn. In doing so we can wind the flaps in. What I'll do is I'll stop just here. And I will turn the fuel pumps off, pitos off, anti-collision light on, off, taxi light on, landing lights off, and again one of the main things in the Navajo is make sure that the cowl flaps are open on the ground, get some air into the under the intakes. So the after landing checklist is cowl flaps open, wing flaps up, emergency fuel pumps off, heater switch not used, prop controls, bring those fully forward now, and the strobes go off. Just a shutdown checklist, so we are taxiing Charlie 1, Charlie 2 for the Lasham apron. Just watch the speed of the taxi. And that is Charlie 2. And that over there is the Lasham apron. So again, just watch the speed. You can see the ground speed indicated via the GTN 750, the satellite or the GPS tracked speed. Gives you fairly accurate indication, as well as the. There we go, Lasham apron, ATC Lasham. So just bring that power back. Just going to taxi onto the apron. And again, good airmanship is to switch taxi light off. So don't blind anyone. I'm not sure how bright it is on the PA31, but looking at them at my local aerodrome, well, there's quite a few PA31s based. They tend to turn their taxi light off when they taxi around the apron for fuel. So we'll leave it there. We're going to be pulled into the hangar by hand. Parking brake goes on then. Shutdown checklist. The avionics go off. Autopilot flight directors already off. Throttles are checked idle. Mag grounding checked. Throttles just put them to 1000. The lights off, they can stay on, the nav lights can stay on for now. Heater switch off, electrical equipment off, mixtures. We started the right engine first, so I'll bring the right engine off. Right engine stopped, and left engine stopped. Good. Okay, the gear handle is down. The mags can now go off. Position light can go off. All the electric lights, all the electric and lights and anti-air systems are off. And the master switch can go off. And there we are. At Southend via IFR flight from Manchester, cruising at flight level 90 with an ILS approach, radar vectors with an ILS approach to runway 23 at Southend. And this sound set's pretty cool because you can kind of hear the engine and the kind of the metal contracting, I suppose, and rather than expanding as the engine's cooling down, and you get that kind of also the sounds of the airplanes going overhead, which genuinely the first time I heard it I had to go, I was looking out my bedroom window to see what was going on. I thought it was an aeroplane flying overhead, but it wasn't. It's just in the sim. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. Give us a like, subscribe. There's going to be a lot more videos coming. I've been doing this for a long time, and now it's kind of finally the time to start giving something back and producing some more videos. So if there's any inaccuracies, please let me know. I say I'm not a real world pilot. I am training to be a real world pilot, but you know, on type like the Navajo, I know certain things, but there's other things that I'm not 100% sure on. So any help or feedback or advice is always much appreciated. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again soon. Many thanks, guys.